Rosie, there's one dish that says Sicilian, and I don't know if you know this, but my grandmother's family actually originates from Sicily. So this is something that I grew up eating. Sicilian Puttanesca. Normally you have it with pasta, but I'm going to do a duck version of it. I've got this beautiful duck here that's full of flavour and lusciousness. Now what I'm going to get you to do is pop this over here because I've already done the fun part. What I've done is jointed the duck, and you can see I've got the legs and the breast, and what I've done is I've cut it through the spine on each side, removed the spine, removed a whole lot of the little bones, so I'm left with just beautiful pieces of duck meat left on the big pieces of bone, which make it a lot easier to eat. Yep. Because duck does have some small bones in there. When you remove them like that, it makes them delicious. But you want to keep most of it on the bone because it actually holds the meat in place and stops it from shriveling up too much. Now this is going to be perfect. Now what I'm going to do is brown this off to start with. To start it off, I need some salt. Plenty of salt on there because salt loves meat and meat loves salt. And duck is a meat and it does love salt very much, and you can see just the way that the salt hits the duck. You can tell they're in love together. There's lust, there's love, there's all these beautiful things happening on that duck skin. You know it's going to have a lot of fun. You know there's going to be a lot of beautiful duck. Now I've got my pan really hot. You can see I've got this beautiful Swiss diamond pan, plenty of depth to it. It's non-stick and it will hold a lot of heat. What I'm going to do is pop the duck straight into the pan. I know it's non-stick, so nothing's going to stick to it, but I also know that the duck skin has a lot of fat in it, a lot of good fat in it, and that's going to render down and start to fry and sizzle and render and become beautifully golden on the outside. Now, of course, that side there hasn't been seasoned at all, has it, Rosie? So we need to make sure that what we do to one side, we must do to the other side. Salt and pepper on both sides of it, and you can hear that rendering down perfectly. Now, if you want to speed this up a little bit, you could take it, the extra virgin olive oil, and drizzle a little bit of it over the top there in true Sicilian style, and hear that. As soon as I do that, there's a lot of sizzle going along there. Now, what we're going to do is, over here we have some beautiful ripe tomatoes. I want you to take the little green caps off the top of them and chop them up for me. In the meantime, and at the same time and simultaneously, I'm going to get these red onions, take the little core out of them. I'm not going to put them aside, I'm going to throw it all in because this is a braise that's going to sit on the stove for about an hour and a half and simmer away very gently. So every single part of this is going to melt down and become nice and delicious. Now what I'm going to do is grab my extra virgin olive oil and swizzle plenty of it around the outside of the pot.
Swizzle?
Swizzle it around, and I know plenty of oil is in there, and that's a good thing when you're cooking Sicilian food. You want to get it rocking really quickly. In goes the onion, the garlic and the chilli. I'm also going to snuggle in 2 little bay leaves on the side there, 1 and 2. See, I can count as well. Isn't that amazing? And what I'll do is I'll stir that around nice and gently. There's a lot of heat action going on here. It is moving nice and fast. And something that I'm going to add, this is anchovy. Now,
I'm not going to smell that one because it's
not
one of my favourites.
You're right. Now, it is...
A lot of good fats in that, I must say.
It is an acquired taste.
It is an acquired taste.
I love it. In goes the oregano, in goes the marjoram, and what I'm going to do is just tear it straight up. I'm also going to add some capers, which is really important with puttanesca. Now, puttanesca is a pasta dish that is very, very simple. A little bit of onion, some garlic, some chilli, some olives, some capers, and that's about it. Throw in some pasta, but I think by adding some duck to it, we make it even more complex. Now, I've got some Kalamata olives that I've put in there. These Kalamata olives have had the pips removed. These green olives here, which are the true Sicilian green olives, these are the ones you'll find in my dirty martini. What I'm going to do is throw them straight in as well. Now, those green olives, and I'm telling you right now, have pips in them. So when we do take a bite of them, do beware.
Because the last thing I want is a filling, right?
Yeah, the last thing you want is some expensive dental work.
No.
Now, what I'm going to do is stir that around very, very carefully. And you can see with that amount of heat, it's coming together really, really quickly. Now, I'm going to turn my duck over, and you can see we've got a lot of lovely goldenness to it. And it is really important when you are cooking something like this, especially duck, that you do get that golden skin, very much like cooking a delicious steak. Now, over there, Rosie, I've got some red wine, some chicken stock and some tomato passata. Now, it's a good idea to keep an eye on your red wine and probably keep that close to you. In it goes. I'm also going to add some tomato passata to that. About 500-600 mils goes in there. And also some chopped tomatoes. Now, keeping in mind that this is going to cook for some time, about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer, we want to make sure there's plenty of liquid in there so it doesn't boil away till it's bone dry. So if you have a look at that, it looks a little bit thin, but I know, Rosie, by the time this duck is cooked, that'll thicken up beautifully. Now, all I need to do is take my lovely duck legs and duck breast, snuggle them into the pot here like this. And then all these lovely duck juices, we're not letting these go to waste at all. We're going to pop them straight on top there. Hear that sizzle?
Yeah,
that lovely duck fat is going to make it taste even better.
Little snuggle ducks.
Exactly, snuggle ducks. That's what maybe your pet name. Now, what I'm going to do, Rosie, is pop this lid straight on top here and let it simmer really, really low and slow for about an hour and a half. You could put it in the oven if you want, but I'll let this simmer on the stove until it's ready. You'll see it bubbling away. The duck will be tender and the sauce will be delicious. Rosie, I've done a little bit of couscous, which is popular in Sicily, and I'll just take the lid off there. Have a look at that.
Looks rich.
It does.
Looks good, yeah.
Very, very rich and very saucy, which is good. That's why I've got something like couscous here. Now, if you wanted to, you could use a different type of pasta, maybe something small, and throw it in here, something like fregola, which is another type of pasta, and let it soak up some of those juices. Or you can do what I've done, just pop a little bit of couscous on the side. I'm going to reach in here and grab that duck breast there. There we go. Pop it on the side there. Hopefully I won't make too much mess. And the most important part is the sauce. There we go. Olives bouncing around there, and that sauce is nice and deep red. It looks fantastic. Oh, and some cutlery.
I will texture taste your couscous for you.
I can tell you it's going to be gorgeous. Now, what I'm going to do is just twist that duck, and you can see meat just falls off the bone. It is really, really tender, and that's the most important thing. With a little bit of sauce as well, tender and tasty. That's how you want your duck.
I do know that if anyone's going to cook duck, it's going to be you. It looks perfect.
Rosie, I would have to say that is really, really good. I wish you could try it. That duck is tender, flavoursome, delicious. It reminds me of my grandmother's cooking. All I need is a big bowl of pasta, rip the duck through it, and I reckon I'll be at home.